For years, Ford truck owners have been dealing with one of the most frustrating transmission experiences in the industry. And in 2026, that story is finally changing in a big way. For nearly a decade, the 10-speed automatic transmission inside Ford trucks and performance vehicles became one of the most talked about and debated components in the entire industry. When Ford first introduced it alongside General Motors, the promises were massive: better fuel economy, quicker acceleration, and stronger towing performance. The 10-speed was marketed as a revolution in drivetrain technology. Instead, it became a source of frustration that followed Ford through truck forums, dealership service lanes, and owner discussions across the country. Now, heading into the 2026 model year, a serious question has emerged in engineering circles and dealership conversations. Did Ford quietly put the 10-speed to rest? The short answer is no, but the full answer is far more important to understand. What Ford is doing for 2026 is not a simple patch or a minor software adjustment. According to engineers, suppliers, and industry analysts close to the development process, the 2026 changes fundamentally reshape how the 10-speed behaves, how it communicates with the engine, and how it fits into Ford's powertrain plans going forward. Some insiders have gone as far as saying this no longer feels like the same transmission in terms of character, even if the core hardware remains familiar. To understand why this update carries so much weight, you have to go back and understand how the 10-speed earned its controversial reputation. When the transmission launched, expectations were sky-high. More gears meant tighter spacing between ratios, which in theory would keep the engine locked into its most efficient and powerful operating range at all times. On paper, it was genuinely intelligent engineering. In real-world driving, however, many owners found something completely different. Drivers reported harsh and unexpected gear shifts, transmission hunting between gears at low speeds, sluggish engagement from a stop, and unpredictable downshifts in traffic and while towing. The problems were not universal, but they were widespread enough to seriously damage consumer confidence. Transmission specialists who studied the issue were consistent in their findings. The problem was almost never mechanical failure. The root cause was software calibration, paired with how the system tried to adapt to driving behavior. The 10-speed was attempting to predict too much at once. It was reading throttle input, payload, road grade, and temperature simultaneously. And when those inputs created conflict, the shift quality suffered and felt confused to the driver. Ford released multiple calibration updates over the years, and later models did behave meaningfully better than early versions. Still, the reputation lingered. By the early 2020s, the phrase 10-speed problems had become a fixed part of truck culture. Given how much backlash the transmission received, many observers assumed Ford would walk away from the 10-speed entirely. That was never a realistic path. The platform is too deeply woven into Ford's vehicle lineup to simply replace. It supports EcoBoost V6 engines, high-output V8 configurations, and the heaviest towing setups across multiple product lines. Scrapping it would have required billions of dollars in redevelopment, retooling, and regulatory certification. More importantly, engineers understood something the forums did not always reflect. The hardware itself was never the weak point. Clutch packs, planetary gear sets, and torque capacity inside the 10-speed are genuinely strong. The complaints were about how the transmission felt, not about mechanical failure rates. That distinction is what shaped Ford's 2026 strategy. Rather than replacing the transmission, Ford chose a more meaningful path. They re-engineered how it behaves, how it decides when to shift, and how much control it returns to the driver. The 2026 fix centers on a concept called gear consolidation. One of the most persistent misconceptions about the 10-speed is that it must cycle through all 10 gears constantly. Ford's engineers recognized the transmission was shifting far too frequently, especially during light throttle city driving. For 2026, the calibration holds gears longer, skips unnecessary ratio changes, and allows the truck to behave more like a traditional 6 or 8 speed during everyday driving. The guiding philosophy was simple: if the truck does not need to shift, it will not shift. That single change dramatically transforms how the transmission feels from the driver's seat. Another major part of the 2026 update is the removal of what engineers refer to internally as overcorrection logic. Earlier calibrations caused the transmission to react aggressively to even minor throttle fluctuations. triggering preemptive downshifts that drivers had not requested and did not need. For 2026, Ford simplified the decision-making process. The transmission now responds to steady inputs, rather than constantly anticipating the driver's next move. Independent calibration consultants describe this as a return to fundamentals. Drivers want a transmission that responds accurately, not one that constantly guesses. The result is a unit that feels calmer, more composed, and far less reactive. The area where the 2026 update matters most is in towing and hauling. The 10-speed's reputation took its hardest hits in those situations. Under a heavy load, frequent and unnecessary downshifts made trucks feel unsettled, despite strong performance numbers. For 2026, Ford made towing behavior a central development priority. The updated calibration locks the transmission into fewer gears while towing, reducing heat buildup and unnecessary shifting on grades. Downshifts are now triggered by actual torque demand rather than throttle position alone. When a truck is pulling 10,000 pounds, consistency and predictability matter far more than quick gear hunting. This approach improves driver confidence and also reduces long-term wear, which matters deeply to fleet operators and long-term owners. The role of Ford's hybrid powertrain architecture also plays an important part in this story. Ford's PowerBoost hybrid system integrates an electric motor directly into the 10-speed housing. And for 2026, that integration was refined further. Electric torque fill now compensates for the reduction in gear changes, allowing the transmission to stay in a higher gear without losing responsive performance. With electric assist in the drivetrain, constant gear cycling becomes unnecessary to maintain strong acceleration feel. This hybrid synergy makes the 2026 transmission feel smoother than any previous version, and some of that calibration logic carries over to benefit non-hybrid models as well. Looking at the broader picture, the 2026 update hints at something interesting about where Ford's powertrain thinking is heading. While 10 physical gears still exist, not all of them see equal use under the new strategy. In everyday driving, the updated transmission behaves more like a well-sorted 8-speed, with the outermost ratios reserved for specific conditions like extended highway cruising or maximum towing loads. Industry analysts see this as a deliberate shift in philosophy. Ford is stepping back from the idea that more gears automatically means better performance. Intelligent use of available gears is the new standard, and that thinking will likely shape future transmission designs as electrification reduces the need for complex gear sets. For long-term reliability, experts agree the 2026 changes bring genuine improvements. Fewer shift events mean reduced clutch engagement, lower heat cycles, and less mechanical wear over time. Any automatic transmission lives longer when it is not constantly hunting between ratios. The 2026 calibration simply asks less of the hardware during everyday use. For anyone considering a 2026 Ford F-150, Super Duty, or performance model, the transmission is no longer a warning to research carefully. It is now a reason to feel confident. Ford addressed the root causes of frustration without overhauling the hardware entirely. The changes are technical, precise, and largely invisible to the casual eye. Ford did not kill the 10-speed. What they did was correct its character. The 2026 update turns an over-eager and reactive gear changer into a refined, confident, and dependable workhorse that finally matches how real drivers actually use their trucks every single day.